Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Fine Print hosted by yours truly, Tiffany Fine. Wanted to do a little bit of a recap, just a short little rundown of how things went down today. I went in, did that sales meeting. It's funny because it's been a while since I've held the sales meetings as someone that was, a manager and then as a salesperson. So I often forget how much people actually hate sales meetings. I can't think of the last time that I was ever in a sales meeting and it was just like full of enthusiasm and everyone was really excited to be there. So you just, for me, just getting straight to the point and getting out of there and not, talking on and beating a dead horse. And then afterwards, I met with them individually and just made sure that they understood what it was that we were trying to implement and if there was any questions and then moved on. So, and that was very helpful. Did a little bit more training, and just kind of touched base with the finance manager while I was there. It's doing phenomenal as far as, this person specifically went from being a sales manager to a finance manager. That transition is very difficult because a finance manager's job is very much you're kind of just kept to yourself and you do what you need to do in your office and you can help out on the floor, right? But having the mentality of looking at like, the gross overall for the whole store, it's hard to get out of that and just get into like, okay, let's just make some money in the F&I department and let's sell some products. So that it's always really fun to watch people kind of transition into different phases, especially someone that's talented because you know that they're talented and you know that they have the skills for it. They just have to kind of reshape, what they're used to doing. So, but fast forward, I ran into something else today and this is why I love my job. It's always so different. Um, and it resonated with me because it's something that I've had to go through as well. I don't know if anyone else I've met with a finance manager today and he feels that he's not getting a fair shake in deal rotation in the finance department. I don't know if anyone's ever been through that. I run into it almost everywhere that I go. And, someone's manipulating something, someone's cherry picking, someone's doing this, someone's doing that. And, it comes down to like, what are you actually in control of? As someone that comes in to train, I'm looking for a solution and that's not something that I can solve. So then I have to redirect where can I be helpful? And the only place that I can think to be helpful is to reframe the mindset. The most successful finance managers that I know are the ones that don't care what's coming their way. They don't care about what kind of deal it is. They're a beast no matter what it is. They take their hits when they take them, they take their cash deals and then they move on. And um, you know, he was extremely frustrated to the point where he's like, well, I just know that I'm going to get a shit deal. So why even try? And I understand the mentality. And I think no matter what kind of sales you're in, we all get into those funks. But how long those funks last depend on how much money you're going to make throughout that time as well. That mindset is never going to help in sales. I mean, our whole job is psychological. So if we're in a bad mindset, we're basically just asking to lose money on each deal that comes our way. So when I was talking to him, uh, I was like, "Is there anything that I can do to help the situation?" And he was like, "No, I'm at a loss." Like he really feels like he's getting a fair shake. And I said, "Okay, do you plan on staying? Like, do you plan on staying at this dealership or do you plan on leaving the dealership? Like what?" I just needed him to tell me so that I knew if we're looking to stay, then we need to find out what we can control. So, and he wound up saying, yes, like I want to stay, like I want to make this work. And I was like, okay, well, let's just take like whether you're getting screwed over in the rotation or you're not getting screwed over. Let's take that out of the equation because it's not anything that you can do anything about. If it's happening, it's happening. But like, what do you have control over? And, this is a person of faith. So, and I was like, you have faith, but you still have to do the work, which means you have to go into it with a better mindset. You have to understand that you have human beings that are sitting in front of you that deserve the best service possible because they didn't do anything wrong. They're just here to buy a vehicle and you need to provide them the best service possible because we're in the customer service business. So, and only someone that, is looking and self-reflecting is going to know that. You're going to know whether or not you're giving your best effort. I can't tell you. I'm not there every day, but I know that you know it inside your heart when you go home that did you do the best that you could, or were you the one keeping yourself back because you're so annoyed with everything else going on? So, and it's something I've struggled with in the past. And I always love when those things come to light, especially because that's like being creative with training. That's in no training manual, that I had on my schedule today, was that we were going to find something that is gonna, help. It's because it's kind of a spiritual solution, right? Like, you have to find it within yourself to stay motivated and stay positive and be of service to the next person in front of you. And that does create money all in itself, in my experience. Now, I may have some people that argue with that, but in my experience, it translates to dollars, because when people are happy and they feel taken care of, they are okay with spending money with you and they trust you. So it all kind of unfolds together, and that's what the day wound up turning into. It was more of, just like, let's come to peace with the situation. If you're not planning on leaving and there's nothing that you can do about what the rotation looks like, then let's just figure out how to make the best of the situation. Show that you are going to do the best job possible, no matter what that deal is teed up or looks like, whether it's a cash deal, and I have my own opinions on cash deals, and we'll get into that in the future at some point, because I actually love cash deals. I mean, if you're willing to spend that much money on a depreciating asset, we're gonna have a whole different conversation if I'm an F&I. But this is a little bit about the day to day of what I do, and I love it. And I'm like in my comfy clothes, I'm ready to relax. But this was fresh in my mind, and I had such a long drive home to think about all of it. And it's very nice feeling useful, even like there was not really much as far as like production was concerned, but getting someone that can hopefully get themselves back on track, spiritually, mentally. If I can play any part in that's also going to be of service to the customer, which is in return in service to the store. I feel like that's a win for me. So, I mean, hopefully I've had some kind of impact. If I didn't have an impact with him, maybe I'll have an impact with you. Maybe someone else is going through that, and someone else, that we've all been through it in our jobs, I think, at one point or another. So hopefully you've gotten something from that. Please like, follow, subscribe, do all of the things. I still have not figured out how to translate the audio from this onto any platform that is like Spotify or Apple Music or any of that crap. So, hey, message me if you know how to do it, because I have no clue. But in the meantime, I'm on YouTube, which is the Fine Print Podcast 1.0, and I'm on Instagram at Just the Fine Print, and I'm on TikTok at Just the Fine Print. So please follow, like, do all the things, and help me get this started, because I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. All right. Have a good night, you guys.